All right, so Ken writes in, I'm not sure from where, but he says, "Hey Josh, I've been researching how to plan our spending requirements in retirement when spending goes down as we get older." So the fact he said that, kudos to you, my friend. He found my article doing his research on vindication is so sweet. That's an article I had written, and I'll get to it here in just a second. But vindication is so sweet, my friends. His question is simple but complex. He's not really sure. Is there a calculation to use to determine cash flow versus amount saved and invested during retirement? I've run numbers from an online calculator called FireCalc, which we talked about a million times. He used a Ty-Bernicki model as one of the options, and it's stunning how much less one would need to retire versus standard 4% rule. Exactly. And the other Monte Carlo simulations that others seem to use. Why it's almost scary. Yeah? And he links to firecalc.com, which I love. My man Ken has no heirs. He wants to have as much flexibility as possible when spending down what he's worked for over the years. All right, there is no calculation, Ken. There is not. My calculation is simple. I mean, at the end of the day, Kitsis did an article on this not too long ago. Maybe it was a couple years back. I can't remember. But he did an article. He said basically the average you could spend with I think it was like a 50% success rate was 6%. All right, so instead of the 4% rule, which is I hate to even use a guarantee because it's not guaranteed. The 4% rule was based on the safest withdrawal rate allowed. The maximum you could withdraw without ever having run out of money in 30 years of retirement. And the absurdity, not of the rule, not of Bill Bengen and his rule, but the absurdity of it was that we've now taken into vernacular is that your income is going to go up each and every year. And we just know that's your income needs. We know that's not going to happen. And Ken even acknowledges that. So now the new planning says, look, your spending is going to go down, even including healthcare. So if spending goes down and your income needs don't go up, why do we even start the premise of the 4% rule? It inherently is false. So Kitsis said, look, even using the idea of a spending increasing each and every year with inflation, you're still going to get 6%. If you take a 6% withdrawal rate, you're going to have 50% of the time you had money left over and 50% of the time you didn't. And so, so you can use a 6%. I'm fine with that because I absolutely do not believe that your spending is going to go like this. I just don't. I think it's going to probably go like that. This is where Larry Kotlikov's consumption smoothing is so important. And I use this till I'm blue in the face. I'll say it over and over again. I have 4 kids. My wife was not working. I was making good money. Our spending was way up here. Vacations, braces, glasses, sports, you name it. Way up here. A big freaking house to house 6 people. Electricity, our utility, 55 kilowatt hours a day is what we spend. You just name it. Our spending's up here. We are not going to spend this much when we are empty nesters. We're just not gonna. My wife's somewhat of a traveler. I'd rather travel in my backyard and maybe even raise some chickens, all right? That's all I want to do. I don't care. But, whatever. I'll probably be dragged to Europe one day with my better half. But still, at the end of the day, it's not going to happen much. So our spending is not going to be here. It's going to be way down here, without question. So the idea of saying, well, Josh, you are spending $120,000 a year while you're working, thus you need 80% of $120,000 is, 96,000 or something like that. It's just absurd. I'm not going to need $96,000 when I'm 66 years old, no kids running around here. Am I going to freaking give my grandkids something? Sure. Will I help my kids out as much as I can? Sure. But not at the expense of me, not your old buddy Josh. So anyway. Here's my starting point, and I'll put this back on you. I'm not making this recommendation. I don't know you. You might be one of those guys who light cigars with $100 bills, so I don't know. But if I were you, I'd say, okay, I'm going to look 6%. I'm going to start with 6%. If the markets go down 10, 15% in any given year, tighten up the belt. It's that simple. It's not rocket science here. You say, okay, I had $100,000. I took $6,000 out. Now I'm down to $94,000, but on top of that, the markets fell 20%, so now I'm down to $78,000. I'm going to tighten my belt. I'm not going to take it any more than I did last year, or I may even spend less and wait till the markets come back. Nothing wrong with doing that. What other course of action does it come to say you have to keep spending each and every year, increasing your spending? If you got laid off, you wouldn't spend each and every year just like you did before. You stop your lawn mowing guy. You stop your cable bill. You stop your season tickets to the Redskins. It's just common sense. I don't know why we make this so difficult. There is no number. And I'm not saying you are, Ken. I'm not saying that's you specifically because you get it. I can tell by your email. You get it. I would say start with 6%. absolutely. And I'd say at the end of the day, honey, markets fall 15%. We're not going to take that vacation to, I don't even know where rich people go, Monte Carlo or something. I use Monte Carlo. Is that where rich people go? No, it's Macau or something like that. I don't even know where people go. I don't know. So say we're going to start with 6%. We got $100,000 on our portfolio. We're going to take 6,000 out. Markets go up, we'll take 6,000 out plus inflation if we so desire. Markets go down, we're going to take 5,000 out. Just cut back a little bit. No big deal. And now you're going to be just fine. Now remember, finally, don't forget this. The 4% rule is premised on intermediate government bonds. Intermediate government bonds, when Bill Bengen was running those numbers, were a heck of a lot higher than they are today in terms of the yields. What everybody forgets, though, is inflation was too. So, all right, hope this helps, my friend. Thanks for the question. We'll see you next time.